Yeah, Idaho is great, but we have to remain vigilant, and we need your help. What am I talking about? Let's find out next. Hey everybody, Dave Edwards, Treasure Valley Dave here. You know your great real estate agent by your side when it comes time to buy a home, sell a home, or even relocate to the Treasure Valley. And if you're relocating to the Treasure Valley, it might be because wherever you're living now has gone to hell. And you want to make sure that the Treasure Valley, Idaho, doesn't go that same way. So what can we do about it? Have you ever heard of the Rocky Mountain Heist? Well, it's a documentary that came out a few years ago about how the liberals, the Marxists, took over conservative Colorado. It's a great documentary. Let's watch the intro to it and think about, are those things that they're talking about there, could it happen in Idaho? You might be surprised.
This is the story of 3 multimillionaires and a billionaire.
Controlled by a bunch of bigots.
Pushing a top-down, vindictive agenda.
The only way the bigots are going to learn is if we take their power away from them.
Many of these people are multi-billionaires. If they can utilize our money to basically accomplish their social agenda, that's a great thing for them.
A cake shop owner in Colorado now facing jail time after he refused to bake a cake for a same-sex wedding.
This is how a tiny club of secretive elites assumed control over a state of 5 million people.
They made new rules. They changed the rules, and then they exploited those rules. There's a war going on.
They declared open season on conservatives, Republicans, anyone who didn't agree with their radical far-left agenda.
They want to tell me what doctor I can go to, what health plan I can have. That is the war on women.
They have passed legislation that has been anti-gun, anti-family, anti-energy development.
The Colorado state flag is still flying high here in Fort Lupton, at least for now.
Of race. What would have been different if I had been carrying the weapon I was licensed to carry that night?
That's why we have the whistles.
I just want to say that actually statistics are not on your side, even if you had had a gun.
They are fundamentally changing our culture here in Colorado.
This hill is a community. It's a community of people who like to smoke weed, have a good time.
We need to legalize marijuana nationally.
I self-medicate. I ain't got on a plan yet, but so I self-medicate.
I love myself and I love everybody.
It started with a plan to control the state legislature and helped pave the way to the White House.
Well, I tell you what, we win Colorado, I'll get 4 more years.
Allegedly preside over a sanctuary city.
We can't do deportation.
It's a story of arrogant elitism.
We have some of the same, backwards thinking in the kind of rural western areas.
Educate the idiots campaign. Really stuff.
No response tonight from former New York Mayor Michael Bloomberg about his controversial remarks about Colorado.
And it's the story of where they're going next.
Cleansing a sickness from our souls doesn't come easily. It's gruesome.
I'm thinking, what the hell is going on here? Who is this person? Where'd they get the kind of money?
If they can do it in Texas, Republicans are doomed.
We are 5 days away from fundamentally transforming the United States of America.
It all started here in Colorado. And the Colorado model, as it has become known, could be coming to your state next. I'm Michelle Malkin, and this is the story of the Rocky Mountain Heist.
So, could it be coming to your state next? If you're in Idaho, yes, the answer is yes. We've got a big target on our back and they're heading our way. If you're already in Arizona, if you're in Texas, you're further down that road than even Idaho is. So they came in, they used their money, and they fundamentally changed Colorado into a Marxist-controlled state. And just as a side note, you've probably seen recently they've had all those Venezuelan gangs in Aurora and other places around Denver. And sounds like the Rocky Mountain Heist is in full effect, yet still to today. But you can see that Idahoans are very attuned to this. Here we have the website, the Gem State Heist. They're trying to warn people and provide information so it doesn't happen here. Could it happen here? Well, last year, they did their very dead level best to make it happen here. We had Prop 1. That was a ballot initiative that would have given us ranked choice voting. And essentially what that means is that you don't vote for one person. That's no longer one person, one vote. You vote for everybody. You just put them in order that you like to see them. And then it all gets shoved into a machine. Somehow an algorithm counts it. And then pop comes out the winner, which, to follow the Alaska model, because they fell for this, is always the Marxist-leaning Democrats. Every single time. Funny how that works. And during the run-up to the ballot initiative, to the election, there was all sorts of out-of-state money coming in here. There was a young kid that came to my door, and he had information that he was providing to the previous owners, who were apparently Democrats, because he was on their list. But he talked with me for a while. He was a nice kid, came up from Utah. Somebody with a lot of money paid him and a bunch of his people, his co-workers, if you will, to go walk all the neighborhoods throughout the Treasure Valley. I've talked with some other patriots right here in the Treasure Valley, and they've had the same exact thing happen. Out-of-state people coming up and trying to get signatures to get it on the ballot, and then just trying to get Idahoans hoodwinked into voting for Prop 1. And they spent, I don't know how many millions on advertising, slick advertising on the radio, on TV, trying to evoke those emotions. Because if you can get people to think with their hearts and not their heads, guess what? You got them like a ring through the nose, and you're going to pull that bull all over the place. So they're trying their dead level best. But is it working here in Idaho? Just for fun, I went ahead and did a Google search to find out, is Idaho getting more conservative? And I thought some of the results from that search were pretty interesting. Idaho is not getting more liberal, according to the liberal Idaho press. The Idaho Capital Sun voter registration shows California Republicans, says 30,000 California voters moved into Idaho and registered as Republicans. The Republican Party has dominated Idaho for most of its history, blah, 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 but is it staying that way? Surge of California Republicans continue to move Idaho more conservative, is what it says. Thousands of blue state residents, conservatives in California, what they're talking about, flock to Idaho. Idaho voters move to the right. We're becoming even not just Republican, because traditionally we've had a lot of the establishment, the rhinos. It's the patriots that have moved here to Idaho that are making such a difference. And we could go on and on and on. So is Idaho getting more conservative? Well, I've got a couple news stories here that kind of show that it is. One is that apparently, so we've got this guy on death row that our primary method of carrying out that sentence is apparently the chemical concoction that gets put into their veins. Well, it's just doggone it. We had all these people in there that are, trained to put the needle in the vein. They couldn't find a vein. Bless their hearts, they tried and tried. They couldn't find a vein. Let me ask you this. If you go in to get your labs done to see how your annual checkup is doing, have they ever not been able to find a vein? Really? So because they couldn't, this murderer, this really heinous guy is still alive and still sucking up our tax dollars year after year after year. So what's the proposal? Well, carrying out that sentence with a firing squad has been on the roster of approved things to do. It's just not categorized as the primary method of carrying out that sentence. Well, there's a bill that's going through the State House right now that says firing squad is going to be the primary method of carrying out that sentence. And if you get some lefties in there that say, oh, we can't find a vein. Oh, this guy's going to have to live another year and suck up another, I don't know, hundreds of thousands of dollars. Well, guess what? We're going to take care of it. And another guess what? We've got ammo manufacturers across the country that are offering to provide ammo to Idaho for free to carry out these death sentences. So we're going to be saving money and actually functionally putting these people into their terminal sentence. So I think that's a very positive sign, don't you? And just lastly, I just saw this story that Idaho legislators address monetization of politics in a new campaign finance bill. So this bill does a few different things, but the interesting one that I thought was that They're going to establish a criminal libel. It's a bill to make it a felony for someone to publish false statements about another person, establish a maximum $100,000 fine, imprisonment, or both, for imprisonment for 5 years or both. And it allows the Secretary of State to do investigations and things like that, because we have all this money coming in from out of state very, very often. And don't get me wrong, we do have some establishment types. We have some very rich establishment types right here in Idaho. And they don't want their lunch bucket turned over. But it's those out-of-staters that, I mean, what are they doing here? George Soros money? Maybe so. But this bill is going to give Idaho a chance to fight back. And I had seen in the run-up to last election, where we had a bunch of really great patriots running for state senate and the state house, that there were just absolute lies that were coming out. These were very slick stuff that comes in the mail or gets put on your door hangers and things like that. And they just had absolute lies. Some of the lies were told about people that I personally know. And I knew those things to be absolute lies, but it didn't matter. And what are you going to do? You're going to come after them and say, well, there's just freedom of speech. Well, we can say whatever we want. That's going to change now. Once this gets through the legislature and signed by the governor, it's going to put some teeth into holding people accountable for, I don't know, telling the truth when they have all this money behind them to spread their lies far and wide. Now there's going to be some accountability for that. So what does all that mean? Well, Idaho is a whole heck of a lot more free than so many other places. Am I right? But we need to remain vigilant, because there are forces out there that has successfully turned other states into purple and then to blue. They used to be, very conservative. It's not going to happen in Idaho, and you can help. You can come up here, bring your voice, bring your vote, and help us make sure that we never, ever turn into one of those Marxist places like maybe where you live right now. So if you think Idaho might be the place that you want to move to escape from wherever you are, let us help you. Give me a call, give Marina a call. We'd be glad to help you through the whole process, answer your questions about what it's like to live up here, how you can help once you get up here. And if you want to know more about what it's like to live here in Idaho, check out this other video that I made. It'll give you a pretty decent idea. And until next time, Dave Edwards, always looking forward to helping you get home.